What's up, everybody? It's TheNidien, and welcome to Military Monday. What you're seeing is a little Battlefield Bad Company 2 gameplay that I got in with Svendy Millersburg and Snipe You during one of Svendy's podcasts. And then it turned out to be some of the most fun I've had in Battlefield ever, hands down. It was really well-fought matches on both sides, attacking and defending. But what I'm here for is Military Monday, not the gameplay. So what I was going to get into is some of the places I've been and some of the things I've done. And for whatever reason, when I first got in, the unit I was in was one of the only cold weather units in the Marine Corps. We did a lot of cold weather training, basically only cold weather training. Most of the summers I was in, we stood around and literally did nothing. And then in the winter is when we would do all our training. It was kind of weird. And in the summer you got really lazy and then just waited for the terrible weather to roll in, and then that's when you knew training was coming. And the reason why we were only one of the only cold weather units in the Marine Corps is because really how many places in the world that deal fully with cold weather ever break out with war? You know, Northern Ireland, I don't think we're gonna go to war with or invade or defend anytime soon. Iceland, of all places. Antarctica, I don't think there's gonna ever be a war on Antarctica in my lifetime. Maybe Northern Korea and Northern China, but at that time, you know, China was, you know, we've always been on tight ropes with China. So at that time, China was kind of the big thing, and there was a little bit going on here and there, but nothing too crazy to get us thinking that we were really going to go to war with China. But, you know, in case that ever happened, we were prepared, and that was it. Now, in the meantime, right before I got out is when they switched it all over. You know, no more cold weather training on a full-time basis, all this other good stuff because of all the problems in the Middle East, and the cold weather training really did nobody any good because, you know, we had to learn how to ski, we had to learn how to ride combat, snowmobiles, all sorts of just different shit that you never thought was possible. Snowshoes, which I'm going to tell you right now are a nightmare, especially the military. And one thing you have to understand is when I was in, see, there was a switch. When I was in, we were still using, when I first got in, we were still using stuff from the Vietnam era. All our cold weather gear was basically rubber. Yeah, if that makes any sense, you let me know, because I never understood it, and I still will never understand it. But when I first went in, all our cold weather unit stuff was called pretty much a Gumby suit, pretty much a rain suit, but they did use that same exact stuff for cold weather training. And the reason they called it Gumby suit is because it was just that aqua blue rubber, and you pretty much looked like Gumby from the cartoons back in the day. It was really weird. It was awful. It didn't keep you warm whatsoever, and yeah, it didn't keep you dry whatsoever, and that was the whole point of cold weather gear. Never made any sense to me. But that went for everything. Our M16s when I went in were all shit. Our 240 Golds when I went in were all shit. They were all stuff from, you know, way overdue their prime, and it was just a nightmare. All the packs were broke and just complete crap. And now there's been that shift. About 5 years in, we started to get new M16A2s. We started to get, you know, the new packs, the lighter packs with a separate battle pack on them, the new flak jackets, the new cold weather gear, which is amazing compared to what it used to be. The new cold weather tents. No longer were you carrying around a 100-pound tent that was used for the headquarters and all this other stuff, but everybody carried around, you know, just a little two-man tent. They weighed probably just a couple pounds. So 5 years in is when it kind of became like, all right, finally, they're going to give us some new stuff, and I can finally feel safe about what I'm doing. You know, shooting blanks from the Vietnam era, all this other good stuff. But that's how it was when I first went in. And that's probably how it's going to be, you know, 20, 30 years from now. Everything's going to be worn out, just complete junk, and people shouldn't be using it, but that's our government for you. You know, they don't give a shit until something bad happens and attention's brought about, and then they'll get everybody new stuff again. That's just something everybody's going to have to learn to deal with, especially in the Marine Corps, because we get all our stuff last. That's just the way it works. It usually goes, Army gets all the good stuff first, then the Navy, Air Force, Marines just come last, and, whatever. It is what it is. But one of the places I went to during all our cold weather training was Alaska. Now, Alaska's a beautiful state. I'm glad I got to experience Alaska, and we were, I think, right around Anchorage, matter of fact, and did a lot, probably close to 3 weeks worth of cold weather training up in Alaska, and then went to Wisconsin after, which is night and day compared to Alaska. You'd think Alaska was going to be, worse weather, colder, just a miserable place, but actually Wisconsin, and this is coming from somebody that's lived in New York their entire life and is used to just shitty weather. Wisconsin is awful. I'll get into that in another but it's so awful, matter of fact, that I'm probably never going to drive through Wisconsin again. I'll drive around Wisconsin and go from there. It's just, oh man, my heart goes out to you guys that live in Wisconsin, because that's just a miserable place during the winter. But Alaska was beautiful. The time we were there was kind of when they were in that 6 months of light phase, so dark wasn't really ever dark. It was more like a dusk situation. You could see just fine. Nothing too spectacular. We did a lot of skiing. That was the first time I've ever skied. Almost got screwed up. They took us down this huge hill on our first day, fell down, started going down the hill backwards, and ran into a tree with my neck. I didn't get hurt whatsoever. I kind of got borderline knocked out. Just a little dizzy, but nothing crazy. I was really surprised. I could have got really hurt really bad. And a couple kids actually did get hurt really bad because they hit the same tree, and it didn't turn out too well for them. But at least it wasn't like a lifelong, couple broken bones, broken leg and such, but nothing too exciting. One thing we had to do was the snowshoes. And when I was in, I'm not sure if they've changed it by now. Probably not. But the snowshoes were old tennis rackets painted white with like these little makeshift fasteners on them that clamp down to your cold weather boots. They were awful, and you guys can try it on your own. Go grab yourself some old tennis rackets, tie them to your shoes, and run around and see what happens. You have to learn how to run bow-legged. Yeah, it's just a complete mess and very, very awkward. So I would suggest, if you have to ever do any cold weather training with the military, and just go spend the $200, get yourself a good pair of snowshoes, and just have them ready. For one, they're lighter, and they're not as bulky. Like when we had to pack them, you pack them so that the tips are up of these rackets. So you're walking around with two big, like, antennas coming out of your pack, and they get stuck on everything. It's just the military amazes me due to inefficiency and just absolutely mind-boggling craziness. But yes, I highly suggest you go buy your own snowshoes. They're no big, they're just maybe an inch or two bigger than what your shoes actually are. And the kids that did that compared to me and all the other kids that were running around on tennis rackets, their life was a lot better. And after that, I went and bought myself some snowshoes. So that's my pro tip of the day. Buy your own snowshoes. Don't let the military give you what they're using, because it's crap. But anyways, what you have in Alaska it's interesting, because I found that like in their wooded areas that we were in, like most of the trees are dead. We're talking, a 2-foot round tree you can just push over with your pinky. You're not allowed to have fires out there, even though we did. Unfortunately for me, I've had bad luck with fires and them exploding, so we had to start our fire, and of course it exploded. We used a lot of wet wood, and we figured the white gas we were using for wood stoves would work real well, but they didn't, and it sat there for a while, and once we did get it lit, it exploded. We had a 40-foot flaming debris everywhere, 40-foot flames in the air. We got into a lot of trouble, so it wasn't too pretty. But that's just the way my life is. Nothing ever seems to go right. For example, when we were gathering wood, me and my friend had to go get wood, so we were knocking down some trees, cutting it up or whatever. We come to this little half-broken tree. He starts shaking it. We hear a snap, and we're both looking at each other. what happened was the snap was the top of the tree. We were shaking. He gets hit in the head, knocked out, falls into a bear trap, and I spend the next 3 hours trying to get him out of a 12-foot deep bear trap. Very interesting indeed. But if you're ever in that area and you can go to Anchorage, Alaska. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. Moose running wild on the streets. Be careful with the natives there. The Inuits, they don't like being called Eskimos. A lot of us found that out the hard way. And they are some rough, rugged individuals, but much respected. We ended up going into a native bar, and it was probably the coolest thing coolest bar I've ever been to. At first, we weren't welcomed very well, but once you get talking to them and you show them their respect, they show you respect. But we walked into this place, and they were all watching Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire actually ended up turning into a bar brawl between 5 of them because they were betting money on, answers B, C. It was definitely interesting. All the women walked around hitting on us. It was just an amazing experience. And matter of fact, they have one of the, I just read in a magazine, Choku Charlie's, one of the best bars I've ever been to in my life. It's like 6 or 7 bars in one, and it's up there around Anchorage, Alaska. It's actually rated #1 one-night stand bar in the world due to Maxim magazine. And I'd love to get into some of those stories, but we're going to keep it PG rated and family oriented. So if you're ever up there, hit up Choku Charlie's. You won't be disappointed. And just Anchorage overall, you will not be disappointed. It's a beautiful place. And I wish, hopefully here someday I can go back. Now, like I said, Wisconsin, and I've also been to Fort Drum up here in Watertown, the armpit of the world, and a few places in Canada. And they've all been 150 times worse than what you would think Alaska would be. Because, I always was under that impression that Alaska was just going to be an awful, miserable crap hole, to be completely honest. And it was nothing but good times and nothing but beautiful weather. Maybe we just got lucky. But, yeah. So that's what I got for you guys today. Visit Alaska. Pro tip of the day. Buy your own stuff when it comes to the military. You're going to find out quick that a lot of their stuff is just garbage and needless weight. And when you're carrying around 125 pounds, you don't need that 15-pound sack that they give you for no apparent reason. So as always, guys, Military Monday is probably going to be uploaded on Sunday due to my PC parts coming tomorrow. And I don't want to get caught up and forget. So as always, guys, I hope you had a great weekend. Have a great day. Fade to black. Peace.